Coming up for Leading Second.
I think in ministry right now, we're too addicted to being big. I think we need to ditch that as a goal. I don't know about you. I'm not trying to build big ministry anymore. I want to build effective ministry. Something that is effective for the purposes of God.
For all those who serve on church teams, serving a vision bigger than themselves.
And if you are a pastor, and if you are a minister, and if you are a leader, and if you are a builder.
For all those leveraging their life for the cause of Christ.
I really only know you're all in until you don't get your way. It's the only way I can ever really know you're here for the vision. It's easy to come for a program. It's easy to come for a person. It's easy to come for a position. But I'm talking about the vision.
Posture of a second chair leader is this: I am blessed with everything and entitled to nothing.
Special guest Charlotte Gamble.
In order to step into our callings, we must step out of our comfort.
And Pastor Larry Bry.
We are going to expand it so that more people can come underneath the umbrella and meet Jesus as their Lord and Savior.
And he's saying, I've entrusted a moment to you. I've entrusted something to you. I've entrusted resource to you. I've entrusted opportunity to you. What are you going to do now with the opportunity I gave you to build my church and move the kingdom of God forward?
Leading Second Camp, February 25th and 26th, 2026, San Antonio, Texas. Register today at leadingsecondcamp.com. Welcome to the Leading Second podcast, a space to help church leaders thrive in the second chair. Today's conversation will help you embrace your calling, get it right with your pastor, and lead in an uncommon way. Let's jump in.
All right, Leading Second today, I am so excited to have one of our favorite guests. I would even argue one of our most important guests to the podcast, Pastor Kevin Gerald, my pastor. Welcome to Leading Second. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm one of the most important. Like, that's a great verbiage for me.
I think you're one of the most frequent. I want you on here at least once a year. I think we've done that. Your voice matters to us. Thank you for taking some time to talk to our tribe today. And I'm so excited because today we're going to be talking about your brand new book, It Takes a Team. Congratulations on another brilliant book. And we got to do some intros first, but I just think this has got to be one of the best that you've written.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited for leaders and teams to dive into it.
How about this? It was the longest one in making. This is the how long have I been leading? For 40-something years, and I would say that I was writing this book from the very beginning.
I was thinking about that because I was reading it, and I'm thinking, you have this amazing ability. On one hand, I've heard so much of this. I've been under your ministry for decades, and another way, your brilliance is how in the world is it still so fresh? You are so fresh on the topic. And I just think that's incredible. And I think it's truly a life message.
I'll tell you, the key is you got to be bored with yourself sometimes. I get bored by my own words or verbiage or the way I keep saying things the same way. So that's a lot of it right there. But thank you for saying that.
No, it's fresh. It's good. So let's run down the bio, though, really fast, because I think we actually have some important things here. You have been pastoring in the Pacific Northwest since 1986. So you're coming up on 40 years just in the Northwest at Champion Center. I think that is remarkable for you and Pastor Sheila. You've been my pastor since I was 12. So I've basically, with a little bit of a gap, I've basically been at this church my whole life, but we merged our churches. You became my pastor when I was 12. You've led the team church organization and tribe with the conference itself dating back over 20 years. I mean, in a couple of years, I think it'll be 25 years, just for team church conference right there, which is, again, I think a remarkable thing. And then you're the author of several books. I love The Proving Ground. I love so much of what you've written. And then, of course, today we're going to talk about It Takes a Team. So let's just dive in and let me hear you just talk for a minute about why this book and why now. Why? I know you've been talking about this for a long time, but why now for this book?
Well, to be honest with you, I was having a lot of pastors who would say to me, what book would you recommend
Right.
on team and church teams especially? And boy, I was coming up short time and time again. And so this kept happening actually for years, last few years, as I focus a lot on that topic. And it's kind of our mantra. And with us being called Team Church,
Right.
we focus on that. I ask our guest speakers who are speaking at our conference and our events and all that, like, keep everything on that level. Like, that's who we are. That's the big deal for us. And then with you leading second, coming along, and we have built those bridges to where it is vital. And we understand that nothing of great value is built without a team.
That's right.
So really, that's the what behind it and the why behind it. And then right now, the urgency is that I don't mean this in an arrogant way, Brandon. I would just say that if you want to have a little fun, go out and try to find another one like this. Like, it's just not there.
You're right.
And there's a lot of topics that you can find a lot of books on, but you can't find a lot, especially when you put it into the space of church, teams, and leadership. They're just pretty much non-existent.
I think it's my favorite thing that I love about the Team Church tribe is that we validate the whole team. I think it's so special. I think it's so needed. I think we keep finding new ways to talk about it and validating it. It's getting really deep and it's getting really rich. So I guess buckle up today because we're going to take a deep dive on a topic that is so important. So let me just start by asking you, let's just go on the basic premise of the book. Why are teams important in a church? And you use a great term called teaming that I've never heard before that I would love for you to unpack.
I'm so glad you said that, because I actually, with my staff and the 2 or 3 people that really helped me with writing, I came across that word, and I had never really used it.
Yeah.
And I think they were kind of like, wow, you're making a big deal over that. I'm like, this is a big deal. The word teaming summarizes in one word.
That's right.
What is so vitally important when we're talking about what we call teamwork or working together with other people. So I would just say this, my hope for this book, I hope we hit the target, is that it's a handbook for church leaders and teams.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like we wrote it. And I'm pretty confident that it fits in that space so that it will not just be a book to pick up and read. And my hope is that everybody listening today, everybody watching today would think about it as a handbook that has life in it for not just you, but the people you work with, the people that are around you, the church that you go to. And I think it has the ability of longevity to create verbiage and words and thought patterns and concepts and ideas in the minds of people who go through it together, and lots of conversations. And I think that's what it serves best. Not just a book you read through. And I don't mean to minimize that. I've got a lot of books that you just read through. This one's different, is that it fills a space by being the topic that it is, to where it really requires, to maximize the value of it, it requires people doing it together, staying in it for literally, I hope it's something that has shelf life for years to come.
Yeah. What would you say to the leader who feels like they can move faster if they just do it themselves? I think that's one thing that pops up is, okay, I got to raise up a team. I got to build a team. Isn't it just easier if I just buckle down and work hard and get it done myself? Would you just kind of bust through that myth and tell us why that is not as effective?
Well, it's a common myth, by the way, and people, including myself, have had times in my life where I've thought, well, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
Like I just do this myself, knowing in my own mind and heart that it was okay to do that one time or two times, but not a lifetime. And I would just say that people who just think that way and don't bring others along with them you're on a short leash. Your long-term potential, your longevity is so minimized.
Yeah.
Whenever you're just doing something today, you're doing it yourself. My wife, Sheila, for example, she's a people person, and she loves interacting and engaging with people. And so her tendency would be, we laugh about this a lot, by the way. My strength is now especially more in long-term relationships. I like getting in with people who I know are in the foxhole with me for a long time, like for better or for worse, rich or for poor. We're going to fight this battle. We're going to fight it together.
Right.
I can count on you. You can count on me. Like, that's the kind of thing that for me, like, it just fills me with passion. When I'm in that scenario, I love winning as a team together, and always have. Now, my wife is back to what Sheila would be. She would be the person who would love to like get in with you and help you today. And she'll build a bond with one person, and that person becomes dependent on her. Now, hear me out on that. They become dependent on, and Sheila's actually gone. By the time like they have become reliant on her, she's gone to the next person.
She's got that woo.
She's gone to that woo, woo, woo.
Yeah,
the next one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. And a whole lot of individuals then are like, what do you mean? What, you don't, I can't have your phone number? I can't like do, like what? And so we have laughed a lot about it. She totally gets it. It's just not in her nature. And so again, it's short term. So what does the person do? If she doesn't guide them, she prays with them, she speaks over them, she blesses them, but she doesn't guide them to membership class. She doesn't take them over here to location pastors. She doesn't make that connection with the team, get them on a team. They're there now by themselves. They got prayed over, they got blessed, she prophesied, she spoke over them, but they're alone still.
Right.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like any person who thinks I can do this better by myself, you can do round one, you can do round two, but even me as a leader, the people that think that way on my team right now, I'm constantly thinking, you mean I have to rely just on you? And now you got 20 things you're doing all by yourself?
Yeah.
And I have to rely on just you? What, can you like get another person that can do that too, so that when you're over here doing something else, that there's another person that can do what you did or what you do? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But I would just say we got to bust that myth of I'm better on my own. I can do it better myself. It is a debilitating mindset when it comes to building something great in terms of your church.
Well, and I think leaders in the middle are exposed to it because we have priorities. We have, our pastor or a leader over us has asked us, maybe set a deadline or we need to get this done by then. And just the tyranny of the urgent, I love that phrase, the tyranny of the urgent weighs down on us. And I think we default to this. I'll just do it myself. I'll just get the job. And building a team takes time. Yep. It takes skill. It takes effort, but it truly, I think we're arguing, truly is the thing that can unlock a leader at any level of the organization. You don't have to be at the top to do it.
I call it church sabotage.
Yeah.
It's true. That thinking is sabotaging because the person doing the work gets tired and weary.
Yep.
Then they start to look around and go, nobody's here to help me.
Nobody's helping me.
You haven't asked for help. You haven't recruited help. And it's just like a sabotage.
That's true. What was the moment where you got it with teams? I mean, maybe it was way back somewhere with sports or something, but where's the moment where you got it, where you realize teams are the key here in church? What was your light bulb moment?
I did get it as a young athlete. I realized, like, boy, if I'm going to be an exceptional, hardworking athlete on a team, I really want the others to work hard. I want them to be full, all in, because I want to win. And I think early on, I started growing in my appreciation for teams that were like that. Then when I became a pastor, it's the game on, so to speak. Sundays matter. So much is important. And I realize there's no way we can really impact people's lives at the level I want to see them impacted if I'm doing it myself. The preparation process toward the weekend, the actual service itself, and then the follow-up, I cannot get where I want to go. And I feel like the vision God put in my heart, we can't get there if I'm doing it all. I need a team. Like it takes a team to build a great church.
That's right. You go so far as to argue, and I love this, to argue that teaming is sacred.
Yep.
I mean, you make the claim. I'd love to hear you defend your claim because I just love it here. That, I mean, teaming is within the nature of God himself.
Right.
And his design. Would you talk to us about that for a minute? Because this is deep for us.
I'm glad you brought that up, and let me talk about it in a minute, because I do think this is a personal revelation that I was able to hold in for a long time and then get it out in this book. And to just turn that corner to where we could have a more in-depth biblical and spiritual conversation on teaming is a real breakthrough for me to have verbiage around it and share the concept, because teaming is not man's idea, it's God's design.
Yeah.
And two are better than one.
That's right.
And in the place of unity, God does command the blessing. So you could say in the place of teaming, God commands the blessing. Yep. And so, I mean, you go back into the Bible, it's not only in verbiage and worded over and over again, but examples would be like when Moses and Joshua agreed that they would fight the Amalekites, and Joshua would go down and lead the soldiers, and Moses would sit on the top of the hill and overlook it with his hands held up. And most of us know the story. When his hands got weary and dropped,
got tired,
like the battle would turn against Joshua. His hands were up. It went in the favor of the people of God. So you got two people that are interdependent on one another. But the hands start to drop. Along comes Aaron and Hur.
That's right.
And they step into the picture now. And it's like Aaron's on one side, Hur's on the other. They're holding up Moses. So what you have is the outworking of a team here that really was the only thing that could bring victory on that day. Like, take any of them out of the scenario and you don't have a win. And so we see it over and over and over again in Scripture. And so to be able to say it's in the very core of God's nature, you know, God created man and he's like, well, that's not quite, we're not quite there yet.
Not
and then
enough.
He created a woman, male and female, he created them. So it's at the very core of God's nature. And I actually like the word, Brandon, sacred. I know it's reserved for special meaning, and I believe teaming is sacred. I believe that with all my heart. Like what Scripture says, what God brings together, let no man separate. Now, we use that in marriage, right? But think about it in terms of other scenarios. What God brings together in purpose is not to be taken lightly. It's to be respected. It's to be honored. It's to be defended. We have to work through our stuff, our issues, because when God brings us together, now we have something sacred. And so, like, for me and my team, like, as a pastor even, I can't, you know, people come and go. I get all that. I've been through all that. I know. But I can't ever get to the point where I take lightly the value that my team brings to the table. And that's why I love leading second. That's why I love the mission you are on, and all of those who are listening to this podcast today. And I know every pastor doesn't maybe have this revelation, and I know every leading second person doesn't have this revelation.
Right.
But we got to get to the point where we view it as sacred. We can't just do what we want to do, say what we want to say. We can't be flippant about one another's roles. There's times where we have to get down to we got differences. We have to work through this. We have to really honor. But this is sacred. It's not just about two personalities. It's about something very sacred to the heart of God.
And not to make too much of it or go down the rabbit hole, but I just think it's okay that we get used to using some weighty words. Another weighty word that I've been really on the last couple of years is the word holy. You know, we're called to a holy life.
Yep.
And that word's intimidating. Holy, you know, if we think holiness means perfect, it's intimidating. It's we're not perfect. And what does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, the word holy actually means to be set apart for sacred use. That's what now apply that to our team or to our lives, to be set apart for sacred use. That means something to us, that my life or our team. I just think you're onto something is my point. You're onto something by adding the weight of the word around teaming, because I do believe God sets us apart, and he says he sets us in families. He sets us in teams, and he uses the body in its many parts. There's many weighty examples, and I think we treat it too lightly. Sometimes I think we disconnect really easily. Sometimes from environments that we're supposed to be in.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you maybe a tough question. I'm just kind of drilling for your revelation, because I think your revelation can be our revelation. Looking back, was there a time where you didn't have the team you needed? You know, where or the team wasn't functioning in the way, and how did that feel for you as a pastor?
It's very frustrating and, you know, disappointing and discouraging all at the same time. And I've certainly had those times. And in some areas of our ministry right now, I'm still frustrated that we don't have an individual, or we don't have people running with something, you know, that I really feel called that we're supposed to do. And so I'm looking for, where are they? Where is that Joshua that I can say, would you go fight that battle? Like, would you go work out that detail? Would you go take on the challenges that exist there before we can be effective in that area? So it's an ongoing, but we definitely, thank God, turned a corner to where I can also say we now have many more people that my frustration is minimized, I guess, because of the team. Like I just came back from a sabbatical, and this morning as I greeted we had a little teaching time with our staff and team, I thanked them that I get to go away and know that the church is in good hands, and know that they are owners, and that they don't miss a beat, and they feel as responsible, you know, to when I'm here, when I'm not here. And so, yeah, there's definitely been those seasons in the past when I've just felt frustrated by the fact that, man, you know, Moses prayed that prayer, you know, it's like, God, it's just me. Right. You know, and the people you've given me, what am I supposed to do with the people you've given me? You know, and I think every pastor, and there's some who are, you know, listening today, then watching today, it's going to be familiar. Like, I don't have the help I need. I don't have the people I need. And I would just say that the thing I didn't realize was that I couldn't just be an example of what to do. I had to actually teach and train others the what and the why. Yeah. So if there's a frustrated leader today who's listening to this and you don't have the help, while you're frustrated, take back the ownership of going like Moses did when Jethro said to Moses, Moses, what you're doing is not good. You're out here every morning judging the challenges that the people are having. You're alone. Yep. Take on that responsibility and go find you. He found 70 people, 70 leaders. Yep. Go find some people and share the vision, share the heart, make the ask, and then do orientation with them. Yep. Walk with them, talk to them. Find out, how did you feel with this experience that I gave you to do today? Watch them, observe them, mentor them, all of that process, because there's a reward if you'll do that.
I love how that section ends. It says something to the effect of, if you do this and God so commands, you will be able to stand the strain, and all the people will go home happy, or go home with their needs met, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And I think, isn't that the goal of ministry? Yep. That leaders would stand the strain, because ministry has a strain.
Yep.
So that leaders would stand the strain, and then the people go home with their needs met.
Beautiful.
And that's the outworking of 70 people doing it instead of one person doing what 70 people should have been doing. Let me ask you this. Let's go on a bit of a tangent here and have some fun. I think we all see team as beyond the paycheck, beyond the church staff.
Yep.
That's not the only people that call themselves a part of the church team, part of team church.
Right.
I think it's a myth. I thank God for the American Bible Belt, that so many great, brilliant churches, and we see church staff and size. That is not, a large paid staff is not most churches' reality in the world.
Right.
And it's not most people's reality in church history. If you think about the billions of people that have served sacrificially, no paycheck, and saw themselves as a part of the church team, maybe you could just speak to that for a minute, because I think we need a team beyond just what we can pay. But so many pastors, I think, feel hindered by that. And I think so many people hesitate because I don't have a job. And I love what I'm saying is, I love at Champion Center, one of my favorite things is the amount of people that see themselves on the team that are not on the staff. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's got to be one of the things that has marked me about this house that's truly special. Would you just want to speak to that at all? Because I think we need people to switch over. Team does not mean paid church staff.
Right. And thanks for bringing that up, because it was very intentional for us. And we reached a point where I just realized on our staff that there was that mentality. And this would have been years ago. And I started addressing it. And I know that sometimes when you're trying to differentiate, that everybody's gonna say, the staff, paid staff. You're gonna try to say, well, it's that group, it's not this other. Right. But I'd rather have to use extra words and verbiage to clarify, and create than not, and have this idea like you described, that every person who serves is on the team. Yeah. Like, you come join the team. Like, and people who draw a paycheck, their paycheck, so to speak, for being on the team are not any better. That's right. And sometimes I've said to our paid staff, hey, look at those who are working 40 hours a week.
100%.
And they don't get their paycheck from here, but they show up for another 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Make sure you don't give 100%. Me reason 100%. To think lower of you when I'm asking you, or the demand is on you and I to put in extra time. Yeah. You got to get all that straight. So the team is definitely not about a paycheck. Yep. It's about a spirit. It's about an attitude. Yep. It's about, I have that name on my jersey. I am Team Church. Everyone, when we talk about Team Church, who's it for? It's for everyone who loves the local church. Yep. Everyone who loves the local church. You are Team Church. Like, you love it. You're serving in it. And so I do think that it's extremely important. You asked me the question a while ago, like, what about before, the frustration that I had before I had the kind of team that I have now and the spirit of the team, what was it? And I would say that the greatest frustration is when you lack sync. When the sync is not there around the vision and the mission of our church. Yeah. And people do sign up or they volunteer, but they're just sort of in their own little space doing a job, checking a box, showing up when they're told to show up and leaving when they're told to leave. And my heart was always like, man, when I played on winning football teams in high school, and that heart is what I want. Like, those guys that are grinding early in the morning, they're grinding after the practice. They are staying later, like they're just working on them. Like, can I find that hard? I know people have families. I know people have a life. I get that. But I was hungry to see sync, like getting aligned, in tune with and a great visual of that in the book, It Takes a Team. I start with the story of the Washington University men's rowing team in the 1936 Olympics, who were sons of farmers and loggers and all of that. They weren't from the Ivy League universities, and, they show up, and I love that movie. Like it's just like a revelation of what we're doing in church work, is to realize that and there's a saying, I'm trying to get it straight in my head. It's not about the boat. That rowers have this saying. It's not about the boat. Like it's not about like all of your ideas of personalizing it. It's about sync. It's about you hitting like the water.
Exactly the same.
Exact same moment with the
yeah.
exact same it's about me lining up with you lining up with them, and we all lining up in this thing together. And when we do that, something is achieved that is so beautiful and sacred and holy, and it pleases God that his blessing goes on it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think just I said that wrong. I want to correct it. It's not about you, it's about the boat. It's not about you, it's about the boat. That's I said it wrong in my haste and just thinking about it. But it's something to realize that. So, for example, a rower gets injured in their feelings, their emotions, offended. And that happened.
Yep.
Like the coach talked too strong to me. My other teammates don't appreciate me.
Yep.
So a rower can go, well, phooey on you. I'm not, I'm not for this is not for me. Or a rower can go, it's not about me.
So good. Yes.
It's about the boat.
Yeah.
It's about the boat. And so the reason I love that example is that if we could be that way as Team Church, every leading second person could think that way. It's not about how I felt in the moment. It's not about how I had an offense. I felt offended. We all feel offended. It's about the church. It's about the church, that I am an owner in this, called to this, belong to this, and that's what it's about.
The reason I brought up the paycheck thing, I just want to put a period at the end of this sentence here. PK, I have been in too many conversations with pastors or leaders who fess up and they say, well, my team's just not that big. They'll say like, my staff's just not that big. And they say it almost with shame and almost like, I know they almost like, I know you work with a lot of big teams and our team's just not that big. And I want to look at them and say, you are far more normal than you realize. If you go to the Northwest of America, if you go to Canada, if you go anywhere in Europe, I've talked to leaders in Europe recently, you go to third world nations, you just think, add it all up.
So good.
Maybe we could remove the shame around my team's not where it's at, and we can just get busy like redefining the definition and inviting people into it. Because I think there is wonderful people in the pews of our churches that would do more if they had the right invitation, the right approach, the right clarity. They got the right picture for this. I just think you're more normal. In fact, in our coaching, I'll say one fun thing we have a little bit of fun with in our organizational coaching is we actually don't use the word staff. I say let's try not using the word staff. That's really only relevant to direct deposit and your insurance. Like, what if we use the word leadership team? Good. Now let's build you a leadership team that you need, not the staff you can pay.
That's very
and
good.
I think it just starts to open up the idea that this team can be a whole lot bigger than our current limitations.
Beautiful.
And I just want to remove shame, I guess, from pastors or leaders, second chair leaders who feel behind in this. We all are challenged with this. You're 40 years into pastoring at this church, and I'm sure team building is still probably one of your number one
Absolutely.
challenges.
Yep.
40 years in, I don't think we graduate from
Exactly.
this challenge.
Well, and I'm glad you're saying that to the leading second crowd as well. You're right. Pastors feel that. Pastors are going to share that. They're going to defend why they don't really go out and make the big ask, of busy people who have families and parents and work long hours. And we can get so caught up in that we literally deprive people from the privilege and the opportunity.
Totally.
That they are capable of doing, and finding a space where they can contribute is one of the greatest blessings this side of heaven.
Yeah.
And to sense and to feel and to become part of that and to be aware. Like a lot of times they're just not aware. They look at the church and the staff and they're like, well, that's, they do it on their own. They do it without me. I just did an attender. When you start really, saying to them the elements of truth that we're talking about, and their eyes get opened up and they realize that when I'm a part of the team and I'm investing in the team, there's so many positive things that I benefit from that I would not have if I'm not part of the team. I am blessed by this. This is a privilege. This is an opportunity. And they get to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So we have to switch. You're right. And so leading second leader, I would just say the same, because sometimes they're like, well, I get paid for my work, but I'm talking to people who don't get paid. My pastor wants me to build a team, but they're not paid to be on my team.
And that's another point of shame, right? Where, well, I'm the one getting paid, so I probably just gotta do this.
Yep.
And if we feel bad, okay, I always ask leaders, okay, how did you feel when someone came to you and asked you to do something, asked you to volunteer or lead? Did you feel put out by it?
Great.
Most likely not. You most likely thought, oh my gosh, I get to. That most likely, if you're on church staff or something today, that's most likely was where it started. Someone came to you and you felt so honored.
Yep.
And so why in the world do we think there aren't other people out there that think the same way? Why do we think we're putting them out?
So good.
By asking them to be on the team, or something like that.
It really is. We going too far. We talked about it being sacred and all that. Well, what about the fact that this is a main tool that the enemy uses to hinder us from being all we can be in the church that God's called us to be in the earth?
Yep.
As you name third world countries, you talk about Canada, Europe, even here in the Northwest. And I feel like in a lot of ways we have defeated the enemy in his own game because we have spoke truth into people, and we have eyes have been opened up and they have been enlightened and they are jumping on board and they're excited and thankful and grateful and honored and their whole life has been changed by it. And I just think it's like, ha, devil, you could have kept them over there on their own, not really connected, not really a part of this beautiful blessing of being on the team. But we won this battle through scripture, through logic, through reasoning, through rationale. We won this battle and we're winning it every single week. And people are being blessed because they have crossed over into the land of saying, I am not just an attender, I'm an actual member of the body here.
Yep.
And I'm contributing, and I'm so grateful I am. And we could go on, but I do think there's a spiritual, back to that, I think there's a spiritual element that when we're deceived and we accept something that's not true, Brandon, and this is one of those things that's not true, it's a lie of the enemy whenever we start thinking that we should be more, we should not invite people, develop people, train people, welcome people into the team because of their work or they're busy or, did you there's statistics that show that if you want something done, ask a busy person to do it.
Totally.
I found that to be true. Like some of the busiest people in our church that if I say, hey, listen, really need this, and I know you can do it, would you do that? And when they take it on, and they usually do, like the joy, the blessing for them, but also they get it done fast. They get it done enthusiastically.
I think they're just willing to be creative. I mean, I was just on a Zoom call yesterday with a church team, and their team of directors is probably half paid, half not paid, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So they have to be creative. They're going to meet as a team. Can't just do it at any time, or you're missing half of the group, you know?
Yep.
And they developed this thing. I want to say they meet over a lunch hour, and it's not even a meeting. They call it office hours. They literally meet for one. They're all on Zoom or in the room or whatever, and they just work and talk. They just, hey, I'm working on this. What do you think? You know, and it's a chance for volunteer directors to be at the table, even though they're just kind of cramming it on their lunch hour or, you know, whatever. And I just thought how creative and how good to bring people to the table that, okay, we can't pay them to be there, but man, we can sure get them in the sync and in the flow Beautiful. Of the paid staff. Churches are starting to think really creatively about this stuff. And I just commend. And by the way, that's a church in the Bible Belt. I just want it noted that is even still being willing to just get creative, get lean, you know, get the right people at the table, paycheck or not. That is the power of a team. That is the beauty of a team.
It is. And boy, once again, just to almost overemphasize the leading second, that a lot of times leading second people talk up to the pastor and they're like, well, if you let me hire 3 or 4 people, you know what I mean? Like that. So leading second people really need to hear this as much as a pastor needs to hear it.
That's the new version of I need to make my announcement on Sunday morning for people to show up. You know, that's the new, like you're kind of holding the pastor hostage a little bit.
Yeah. You know, we're only limited because, you know, we don't have money to pay a whole team. And I love what you said. Call it office hours. Call it meetings at noon. Your whole team is now, let's just say they all draw their paycheck from somewhere else, but they're on your team. They're on your, you know, they're on your media team. They're on your welcoming team. They're on, you know, the whatever team it is. And you're arranging a meeting where they can all be there in an evening or, you know, it can be, you know what, it can be 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock some night. They put their kids to bed.
100%.
Get creative.
The best part of the day,
and it's amazing how much fun and joy there is and how much more you get done.
Totally. Okay, I promised you we wouldn't do Joe Rogan 3 hours here on the book, and we've gotten to a third of my notes. Let me just kind of land it with this, PK. And thank you. You brought it back to second chair leaders a lot in this conversation, but if a leader in the middle, anywhere on the team, were to take one idea away from this book, you know, one main concept that you hope they would maybe take and live and teach their team, what would that be? What's a big idea that stands out in the book to you that would apply to the second chair?
I think the subtitle of the book is very powerful in the sense that, you know, it takes a team as a statement you have to believe first.
Right.
You got to believe that. But cross over to the next one and it's lead together, win bigger.
Yeah.
Anything I want leading second to understand is that you and I are lids that are limiting our ability to actually be bigger, be stronger, be more effective. We are a lid, and we have to decide, like, am I going to be a lid or a leader? Am I going to be a lid or a leader? We just have to decide. And once you say, I'm going to be a leader, not a lid, you begin to embrace this dynamic. So I would just say the big idea is don't just see that you have a leader, like be that leader and lead together and win bigger.
That's so good. That's so good. PK, thank you. I mean, I think for this book, we just have to say thank you for a lifetime of sitting in this train of thought and living it and stewarding it. There's many lessons in here you've taught for a lot of years, and yet, like I said at the beginning, you've found your way to keep it fresh and bring it all together in one package. So thank you for doing this. I encourage every team watching this, listening to this, you got to take your team through it. Don't you dare be the leader that says, I'm going to do it on my own and buy this book just for yourself. You have to take your team through it. There's coaches' clipboards in here. There's bullet points. There's things to talk about. You're going to want to do that. And I just think in the Team Church tribe, this is a big pillar. So thank you for writing it.
Thank you, Brandon.
We're grateful.
Appreciate it.
It's our honor to serve churches and leaders across the globe. We equip ministry leaders with the coaching, events, and resources needed to embrace their calling, get it right with their pastor, and lead in an uncommon way. You can visit our website, leadingsecond.com, to learn more about how we can come alongside you as you lead from the middle, from the second chair, for the second chair.